Hey, how's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the Good Game Podcast. This is episode number 6. It is August 9th, 2024, and we got a lot to get into on this episode. I want to talk about some of the things that happened at the Olympics these past couple of days. But before I get into it, let me ask a favor real quick. If you haven't already, hit that like button. If you're watching this on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel at The Good Game Podcast. We're going to have episodes coming at you every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And make sure you share the video with a friend. Also, if you're listening to us on Spotify, follow us on Spotify at The Good Game Podcast. A lot of good episodes coming to you guys. Yes, that's right. 3 times a week. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So make sure you hit that notification bell so you get notified every time we drop a new episode. And you could be part of the Good Game Podcast. Don't miss any of this good game. It's a lot of good games we're going to be discussing. A lot of sports and entertainment related topics we're going to get into today. But before I get started, I also want to mention, don't forget to follow me on my Instagram at A1K Digital Media. And with that being said, let's go ahead and get into it. Our first topic of the day. After cruising through their first 4 games of the 2024 Olympics, the star-studded USA men's basketball team had a little tough time against Serbia and the 3-time NBA MVP Nikola Jokic this Thursday. And I got a chance to watch the semifinal game. I thought that the USA team started out a little slow in the beginning. Serbia led for more than 35 minutes of a 40-minute game. But the USA was able to hold their own and create an advantage in the final minutes. The final period belonged to Team USA, which outscored Serbia 32-15 to come back and take the lead for good on a Stephen Curry three-pointer with 2 minutes and 24 seconds remaining in the 95-91 victory. Now, for those of you who were fortunate enough to watch this game, it was an incredible game from Steph Curry. Definitely a great game from LeBron James. A few other guys really stepped up and played some key positions and possessions, but ultimately it came down to the fact that Serbia was hitting a lot of open threes in the beginning of the game. Definitely some lax defense on the Team USA side. But ultimately, Team USA men's basketball was able to figure it out, and that's all that matters. We definitely want to applaud them for that. So it'll be interesting to check out this gold medal game coming up this weekend. USA versus France for the men's basketball gold. I am definitely rocking with Team USA. I think that France definitely has a lot to offer as far as competition. And it'll be interesting to see how we match up against Victor Wembanyama. I'm assuming the coaching staff is probably going to have Joel Embiid guard him for majority of the game, but we'll see what adjustments they make. So here are the key takeaways from the most thrilling U.S. men's basketball game since matchups with Spain in the 2008 and 2012 finals. This was the 3rd meeting between Team USA and Serbia this summer. The U.S. men had comfortably taken both previous matchups, winning an exhibition in Abu Dhabi 105-79 and the opening game of the group play 110-84. In both of these games, Serbia struggled shooting from 3, combining 19 of 71 from 3, which is only about 27%. This time, they led by 4 of 6 3-point shooting from guard Alexa Avramovic and 3 makes apiece by Bogdan Bogdanovic and Ogden Dobric. Serbia made 5 threes in each of the first 3 quarters while building a double-digit lead. And those of you who are fans of the NBA may be familiar with Bogdan Bogdanovic. He plays for the Sacramento Kings, I believe. I could be wrong, but I definitely have checked out this player in some regular NBA games, and he definitely is a player who is known to definitely be a 3-point shooter. He can definitely hit the perimeter shot at a high percentage, but in this game, he was just completely playing lights out out of his mind. So shout out to him. Kudos to Bogdanovic. Definitely played an amazing game. And when it came down to the fourth quarter, I think that shots just stopped falling for these guys. Team Serbia definitely started to look gassed towards the last fourth quarter, the last couple of minutes in that fourth quarter. And Team USA just looked like they had all the energy in the world. I mean, they definitely hit them with a little rope-a-dope, had them exert a whole bunch of energy during the first 3 quarters of the game. But when it came down to that fourth quarter, Team USA was just able to dig deep. They had enough roster space and enough players on that team to really just make a push. And Steph Curry and LeBron James both did their thing. I mean, there was nobody on Team Serbia who could really guard LeBron in the post. So I like to see him go down to the post when certain people weren't able to get their shots going from the perimeter. And then, in that fourth quarter, it was just lights out. Steph Curry started hitting shots. A couple other guys made some key contributions scoring-wise, and the defense was just on point. I mean, Serbia definitely had a hard time putting any type of offense together in that fourth quarter. So definitely fun to watch. I know a lot of people watching from USA definitely were nervous during certain parts of that game due to the fact that Serbia was leading. But ultimately, the best team was able to win that game, and it was exciting to watch. The combination made Serbia look like the biggest test for Team USA, which was expected entering the Olympics. Having spent most of the Olympics playing a deep rotation, U.S. coach Steve Kerr relied heavily on his veterans with the game on the line. Kerr's only fourth quarter sub until the final 8 seconds of the game was bringing Joel Embiid in for Anthony Davis. That gave Team USA a closing lineup with 4 MVPs, Curry, Embiid, Kevin Durant, and LeBron James, flanked by Devin Booker, the only player in that group younger than 30 years old. The veteran lineup stepped up defensively. Serbia did not make a three-pointer in the fourth quarter, going 0 for 9, and had just 15 points total after scoring at least 22 each of the first 3 periods. So that just goes to show you it really doesn't matter how you start the game. What matters most importantly is how you decide to finish. So Serbia definitely came out hot in those first couple of quarters, but when it came down to the fourth quarter, the one that mattered the most, going 0 for 9 and just having 15 points total isn't going to cut it, especially in these Olympic Games. Getting more stops allowed the U.S. to get out in transition, including a steal and score by Curry that gave the Americans their largest lead at 5 points. At the other end, the Stars were able to score against a set Serbia defense. Curry's go-ahead 3, which came off a crushing screen set by Embiid, was the most memorable score. But Durant also made a difficult pull-up after Serbia cut the lead back to 2 on a Bogdanovic 3-point play with 56 seconds remaining. And I think some of the earlier struggles by Team USA had to do with the fact that these guys haven't necessarily had a lot of playing time together, so they're still building chemistry and they're still figuring out each other's playing style. For example, there were certain times during this game Thursday where you would see Joel Embiid have issues on the floor with Steph Curry because Steph Curry is a player who uses a lot of off-ball screens, and Joel may not be used to playing with somebody who moves around so much off the ball that oftentimes you would see them run into each other and create unnecessary turnovers due to the fact that they're just not used to playing with each other in that respect. So I think as these guys start to gel and build more chemistry, albeit only one game left in this Olympic final, but I think at this point it's going to be interesting to see what these guys can do with the remainder of this Olympic run, and if they can pull out a victory over France, which I think they'll have no problem being able to do. But I do expect a close, competitive game, and I expect the USA to win by around single digits, maybe 8 or 9 points. But it'll be fun to watch. LeBron James, meanwhile, was everywhere down the stretch, playing the entire fourth quarter. He had 6 points, 6 rebounds, and 6 assists, and finished with his second career Olympic triple-double, 16 points, 12 rebounds, and 10 assists. According to ESPN's Stats and Info, he is the first men's basketball player ever with multiple triple-doubles in the Olympics, having previously done so in 2012. And yeah, like I said before, guys, LeBron definitely was big for this team. He was the person making the big plays down the stretch. Definitely put the team in position to win. He was able to find guys during certain moments of the game where they were able to score. If not score, they were able to draw fouls and get some easy free throw points. So definitely kudos to LeBron, and shout out to him for being the guy who was really able to put this team in motion. And guys like Kevin Durant were hitting big shots. Devin Booker hitting big shots. Derek White played great. I know a lot of people question Derek White getting player time over certain players like a Jason Tatum, but I think his defense was very important. He was able to come up with some key steals during times when it mattered the most. Team USA only stayed within striking distance during the first three quarters because of Curry's heroics. After a slow start at his Olympics debut, scoring 29 points on 10 of 28 shooting over the first 4 U.S. games, he more than surpassed the total in the semifinals. Curry was sensational at the start, scoring 14 of the USA's first 15 points with 4 3-pointers in that span. His 9 threes in the game were the second most ever by a U.S. men's basketball player in the Olympics. Anthony Davis made 10 against Nigeria in 2012. In the closing minutes, Curry took over, scoring 7 of the Team USA's last 11 points, including 2 free throws with 8 seconds left to ice the game. So yeah, man, Curry was incredible, played absolutely out of his mind, especially in those last couple of minutes of the game. And it was exciting to watch. This definitely was one of the best Olympic games we've seen in recent memory. So as a fan, it was fun to watch. Coming up on this final game, we definitely want to see more production coming from our bench players, because there were some struggles on the bench for sure. Throughout the Olympics, including the group matchup with Serbia, the U.S. second unit of Durant, Davis, Bam Adebayo, Anthony Edwards, and Derek White had opened up leads. Durant entered Thursday with Team USA's best plus-minus, plus 72, followed by Anthony Edwards, plus 65. That wasn't the case in the semifinals. Durant, plus 5, was the only U.S. player with a positive plus-minus, and the Americans were outscored by 16 in the 6 minutes and 46 seconds White played. Durant started slowly scoring just 2 points on 1 of 5 shooting over the first 3 quarters before going 3 of 3 in the fourth, and the other 4 USA reserves combined for just 9 points. So Durant definitely had a slow start in that semifinal game coming off the bench. You definitely want to see more production from somebody of his caliber, especially during those bench minutes when the team may be down and they need that spark plug off the bench to really come in and create some activity offensively. So I don't predict that Durant will have the same shooting slump in this final game. I think that the team will generally play better, having played all these games leading up to this and establishing that chemistry and camaraderie. And I think that the USA will play their best game in this final, and it'll be something that we remember for a long time. It's possible changes for Steve Kerr and the U.S. coaching staff are ahead for Saturday's gold medal game, as when the USA faced Serbia in group play, Boston Celtics star Jason Tatum was not part of the rotation in the semifinals, picking up a DNP. Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton was the other U.S. player not to see action Thursday. So it'll be interesting to see what this coaching staff comes up with in the lineups for this final game. We would love to see Jason Tatum and even Tyrese Halliburton get a few playing minutes in this game if needed, but if it doesn't coincide with what the coaching staff has planned, then it just doesn't. But, definitely looking forward to the game, and it'll be fun to watch. All right, so moving on to the women's side. So the USA women's team is heading to their 8th straight Olympic final. It's hard to quantify the greatest passing teams in basketball history, but it is fair to say that this version of the Team USA women is among the candidates. The display Friday night was brilliant and at the same time typical, as Team USA racked up 31 assists on its way to an 85-64 semifinal victory over Team Australia. The women Americans, now winners of 60 consecutive Olympic Games, will play for their 8th straight gold medal Sunday. Watching the Americans execute offense and share the ball over the past 2 weeks in France has been somewhere between a clinic and an exhibition. The ball moves with an unselfishness, confidence, and ease. The statisticians at the Olympics might be a tad friendly when it comes to charting the assists, but the U.S. is probably deserving of most of the ones in the gray area with the way its players share the ball. Jackie Young, who was inserted into the starting lineup for the medal round, had proved to be a phenomenal player, having 14 points. Kayla Cooper added 11 points off the bench. The raw numbers showed the Americans had assisted on 27 of their first 28 baskets, a number that is hard to fathom unless you see how Team USA cuts and screens, as it operates what can only be described as a beautiful brand of basketball. In their 5 games so far at this Olympics, the Americans have assisted on 155 of 173 hoops. They are averaging 31 assists per game, and their feel for where each other is going to be and their collective willingness to share the ball makes them as if they could run their offense in the dark. Friday, there were 5 players on the U.S. squad who had at least 3 assists. By early in the fourth quarter, they had touched 30, and it was time to prepare for the gold medal game. Australia, which played nearly 32 minutes before getting to the foul line, has relied on three-point shooting as its best weapons throughout the Olympics, but it went just 7 of 29 against the Team USA defense. The Aussies were led by 11 points from 19-year-old Isabel Borlassi. This may look easy, but this isn't anything but easy, Reeve said. And so I'm super proud of us, the evolution that we've made as a team, and I'm excited that we've got the last stand, if you will, in this campaign to see if we can get another gold medal. So I had the chance to catch this game against Australia, and Team USA women's basketball had a phenomenal game. They played solid defense. They were sharing the ball very well, as I aforementioned, and this is definitely the team to beat. I think they'll have no problem Sunday in the final game. Team Australia definitely play hard. This is a good team. They have some very talented players. They have some Hall of Fame level players on their roster. And unfortunately for them, Team USA women's side were just too strong defensively. They came out strong in the beginning and they were able to finish strong. There was never really a time where we felt like Australia was even close to becoming in the game. And just shout out to the women USA basketball team. Phenomenal players. They played good defense, good offense. Everything was solid. This is one of those teams where you look at the roster top to bottom and there are no weaknesses. I mean, they have players you could pull off the bench that are better than a lot of teams' starting players. And it's been fun to watch. It's going to be exciting watching both the men and women USA basketball teams compete this weekend. And hopefully they can come home with the gold. So that is a wrap for this episode of the Good Game Podcast. If you haven't already, hit that like button. Hit that subscribe button if you're listening to us on YouTube. If you're listening to us on Spotify, don't forget to follow us on our Spotify account at the Good Game Podcast. We're going to have episodes coming every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So hit that notification bell so you don't miss an episode whenever we drop. And with that being said, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This has been the Good Game Podcast, episode 6, and we're out.